Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. Noobster here, back with another Wonderlands build video. So before we get started with this build, just wanted to give a quick thanks. We recently hit 500 subscribers on YouTube. In fact, the moment of me recording this video, we actually hit 512. So huge thanks to everybody that's been giving all the support, the subs, joining the Discord, leaving comments, liking the videos. I really appreciate it, and I wouldn't be making these videos if it weren't for your support. So thanks again, guys. I really appreciate all of that. All right, but hopping right into the video. So today I got a wildfire build for y'all. This is a Clawbringer and Spore Warden build. This is actually an update to my previous Clawbringer video. We've had a few different pieces come out since then, and just overall, I've liked some of the survivability on this one a little bit more, and this one has a lot more primordial, so I was just like, you know what? Let's go ahead and do an updated video. So for the most part, the skill tree is going to be relatively the same. We're still sticking with Storm Dragon's Judgment. In the Clawbringer tree, we maxed out in Oath of Fire. Bonus fire damage, obviously helpful. Then we have Dragon Aura. This one recently got a buff, actually a couple of patches ago. So now this one gives us bonus 25% elemental damage. These 2 points in dedication and the 2 in rebuke, you can kind of switch these out. You can put some in Oath of Thunder. I would say keep 1 in rebuke. The reason for that is whenever we get attacked, we'll reflect lightning ability damage to the attacker. So you do want at least 1 point, but you can go for more survivability and spec more in here. It'll help with damage reduction. So it's sort of these 4 points here are sort of very flexible. In fact, a couple points down in this tree are also very flexible. Then we went into Blasphemous Favor. I like this one solely because I like to have ability damage spread out, and it's mainly because of Wrath of Nature. You can see we spec'd into that in Spore Warden. Now, what this does is whenever we kill an enemy with a gun, then there's going to be a fire orb that seeks out a new enemy and deals fire ability damage. And basically, you can sort of use that as a guide on who to attack next if you don't have your Storm Dragon's Judgment up. Now, that won't be the case a lot because the cooldown is very short for this. I think we reduced the cooldown a little bit over 5 seconds or so, so it's very quick. We're not really leaving the hammer down and like constantly letting it keep doing ability damage. You only need a little bit of tick with the ability damage, so I sort of toss it, let it stay for a second, and then pull it back. And then as you can see, it's already started giving the cooldown back. Anyway, but this, since it also gives a little bit of ability damage, we sort of use that as sort of our guide on who we can attack next. It's not essential, to be honest. You want to rebuke because this is going to be just straight up ability damage randomly to enemies. So if you're getting hit by them, boom, you're going to do extra damage with Wrath of Nature. Next, we have Firebolt. This one, I would say spec into this because it gives the bonus gun damage, the 10% bonus gun damage. It's good. I mean, a little bit of extra damage. Clawbringer doesn't honestly have a lot of skills that help with its own damage. I feel like it has a lot more. It has a couple melee things, a lot of wyvern skills. So we're just trying to take whatever we can to our advantage. And then last, I put 1 in Storm's Breath. This is also very flexible. You don't need to put it. I like the skill. It's honestly just a personal preference. I think the damage reduction helps, but it's not that big of a deal. But the main reason I use it is I just think it's cool. So again, this is one of those skills. If you want to do a little bit of melee, I highly recommend doing Oath of Thunder. I don't melee a lot in this game, so I just like to spread it out into different things that sort of make the character look like it's doing a lot of unique things. And the lightning is cool. I mean, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but again, it's just, we added some extra points around, we threw it in here. Now, moving on to Spore Warden, we went into Eagle Eye. This is pretty obvious for the extra gun damage. Then we did Bullseye. Clawbringer doesn't really boost its gun critical hit chance a lot, so this is going to help us do that with 60% extra gun critical hit chance. Then we have Affinity for the bonus ability damage. This will go hand in hand with some of the ability damage that we're doing here, as well as with our Storm Dragon Judgment sort of lightning arcs that it has. Next, we have Quiver of Holding. 3 out of 3 in this. This helps with magazine size and slight ammo regen. That's not a big deal, but it is what it is. I love this skill just for the magazine size itself. 1 in Medicinal Mushroom. Just a nice skill to have. You get your mushroom to revive you if you're down. So just a general thing I like to have. Next, Windrunner. Bonus fire rate and bonus movement speed. So honestly, that's a win-win in my books. Put 3 out of 3 in there. It's actually going to do, since you can maximize your stacks to 2, you actually get a bonus 24% of fire rate, which is huge. And then the same for movement speed. So I love Windrunner. Next, Wrath of Nature, sort of a staple. This did get a nerf, so it doesn't help out as much, but I still think it's significantly, it's still a really great skill. And I tried to go a little bit into awe. I didn't like it as much, to be honest. I still think going into Wrath of Nature and then getting Play the Angles is just worth it. Unfortunately, I think they still need to do a couple of changes with Clawbringer to make him a little bit better, but I don't think he's a terrible character, to be honest. I think he definitely has some things going for him, and you know, you can still have fun with him. Next, Headhunter, just 1 point, obviously. Bonus gun damage for 1 point, 25%. That's huge. So, and we're always gonna land crits because of Bullseye. So, this is just a staple. And then last, we have Play the Angles. Here's a quick look into the hero stats. I maxed out Strength and Spell Cooldown. We use a Buffmeister in this build, so you want to have as much uptime as you possibly can. And unfortunately, the Buffmeister has a huge cooldown, so I like to put all my points into the Spell Cooldown. And then the remaining I put into Crit Chance. So we get a good amount of overall everything. We don't need any into Skill Cooldown because we already have such a short cooldown with our Storm Dragon's Judgment. And we really don't care about status damage or ward because of our items. So, moving on, everything is primordial except for the pickaxe. I really didn't care about trying to re-roll the enchant on a primordial pickaxe. I have a lot of other builds you can check out. If you really are looking for a primordial pickaxe, feel free to grab one from there or hit me up on my Discord. If you really need it, I don't mind. I'll hit you up. But yeah, that's the only chaotic or non-primordial item we have in here. And real quick, guys, don't ever hesitate to join my Discord and ask me for items. I don't want you to feel apologetic or anything like that. So if there's something, I understand. This game, it's annoying to farm for things. Hit me up. I don't mind. I literally, it takes just a couple of minutes for me. If I'm busy, I'll let you know, but I'll definitely try to get to everybody. And in fact, if you hit up the Discord in general and ask for them, there are plenty of awesome members in the Discord that will hit you up. In fact, I was on vacation and a couple people hit me up while I was on vacation. I hit him back when, or I hit him up back when I came back to my PC, and literally they already had the build. So literally join the Discord. You will get this gear for sure. So here's the items we use. So I was looking for a Spriggan. I got one, so I'm very, very happy about that. I think a member of my community actually gave this one to me. I think it was Chihuahua Muncher. Chihuahua Muncher was the one that hit me up with this. In fact, he gave me a couple of rings too, which I was just like, hey, I'll keep them in the build and you guys can play around and whatever you like, you can feel free to use. So shout out to him. A lot of the other gear, you guys know Pheonix, the main man, he hit me up with a lot of stuff regardless. So a couple of these items are also from him, and I just re-rolled the enchant. The amulet's actually from him too. But anyway, let's get back on track. So next we have a Sword Explosion. Still love the Sword Explosion. I will say I think a Gyre will also be really good on this build. I will try to get a Gyre, and if I do, I will leave that in the save file. But temporarily, I may have just a save file without it. But hopefully, I will put an updated save file for this, and that will be included. But I'm really looking forward to getting one of those and having that on the build, because I know the Sword Explosion has been a staple and people do want to try out different things. So I completely get it. But for now, we do have a Sword Explosion. We also have a Nightshade. If you prefer the Nightshade over the Spriggan, feel free to use it. I put both in the build just so that everybody can have it. And then the liquid cooling recently got a buff too slightly, so I went ahead and put that in the build, and it also does a decent amount of damage. It's still not as crazy as the Sword Explosion, but it can still get the job done. Moving on to our ward, we are using the body rune again. This is going to give us bonus fire damage and restore our maximum health whenever we get a kill, so it helps with survivability. Next, we have a Harbinger. Now, you don't have to have Spore Warden power on him, and you don't have to have frost damage. I feel like you can have gun damage, frost damage, because I'm mainly using frost weapons, but you can even have Clawbringer power. So just try to get a Harbinger that has some decent rolls. If not, you can always use this one from my save file. But yeah, this one has frost damage. Now, I do wish I had a frost Buffmeister with Kachow and Pew, but I don't think I have one. Lightning or Shock one works and does the trick. This one is also primordial, has the enchant on action skill start, increase damage or gun damage by 40%. And really quick, I didn't go over the enchants. On the rune, I have on spellcast, increase elemental damage by 20% for 5 seconds. You can also have frost damage by 20% for 5 seconds. On this, the pickaxe, I have on spellcast, increase damage dealt by 15% for 10 seconds. And by the way, guys, I may have not mentioned it. The main reason we use the Goblin Pickaxe is because whenever you pick up cash, that'll increase your movement speed. It'll give you a little bit more spell cooldown. So that's the main reason we use it. And then on the guns, we just have on action skill start, increase damage dealt by 20% for 20 seconds. So those are the enchants we're using. Now, moving on to the rings. I actually have a couple of rings that I am including in this build, and y'all can use whatever you prefer. So for starters, we have 2 shotgun rings. We have 4 SMG rings, some with action skill cooldown rate and slightly less SMG critical hit damage. And then the other is just full-on SMG critical hit damage, and we put 2 of each of those rings, so feel free to put both of them if you're mobbing or just want to use the Spriggan or Nightshade. Then we also put 2 rings for pistol critical hit damage, and that is if you want to use the good old liquid cooling. So we went ahead and put that in the build as well. Disregard this purple one. And then the last, which are actually the ones I have equipped, are the 2 shotgun rings, and these are mainly our bossing ones. As you can see, these are actually championship rings, not mood rings. So they're mainly the boss killers. That's what we're really using the Sword Explosion for, and the rest is more for mobbing. You could use the liquid cooling for bossing too. In fact, the Spriggan will also get the job done. But if you want quick boss kills, the Sword Explosion is the way to go. All right, now the last thing. It is, again, a Cape of Tides, and I'm sure you guys have already seen this one. It's the same one that I've used for my Spore Warden Berserker build. And unfortunately, this is still the best class mod to use for this. I tried using a smart armor, and don't get me wrong, I know some people have been asking, can you recommend a class mod that is not part of the DLC? They don't think the DLC is worth getting. I completely get it. The DLC is not great. So I am still including this, but I will show a clip of me doing, me killing Parasite with each of these, and y'all will clearly see that the Cape of Tides is still better, but that doesn't mean the smart armor won't get the job done. It will still do the trick. So if you don't have the DLC, the smart armor still wrecks bosses. The Cape of Tides just does it a bit quicker. So I'll roll the clip now, and then y'all can take a look. Alright guys, so from the clip, you might have already seen, the Cape of Tides is the way to go. I'm including both in the save file, so if you can't use the Cape of Tides, or just don't have the DLC or whatever the case may be, go ahead and use a smart armor. It's still really good. It's going to reduce your critical hit chance, but your critical hit damage is going to be increased a ton, so it's still a great class mod. Give it a try, and who knows, you might actually like it a little better. So that's the weaponry and all that. All of the rings are included. I don't have any extra Harbingers, to be honest, so this is the only one. These are the main guns we're putting in. I'll try to include the Gyre if I can find one. And the body rune, all this is all included in the build, so give it a try. And that's pretty much it, guys. So real quick on how you want to use the build. When you're just mobbing, you can sort of just shoot the enemies because they'll be shooting you, so they'll constantly get ability damage hit to them, and then in turn Wrath of Nature will proc. But occasionally you can go ahead, spam your hammer, let it sit there for a little bit. They get the ability damage ticks, and then you proc Wrath of Nature on them and do massive damage. And that's pretty much how you want to play with the bosses too. Just throw your hammer down, freaking activate your Buffmeister, sorry, and yeah, just melt away. I'm going to go ahead and show a little bit of the bossing side of everything. I know you guys saw a little bit of the Parasite kill anyway, but just a little outro clip for y'all. So if you're new to the channel, like the videos, enjoy the build, please hit the sub button, leave a like, join the Discord community. We have awesome people in there. They're super helpful. And yeah, share the video if you're new and have some friends that want a good Clawbringer build. This is pretty decent. It's Clawbringer is kind of iffy for me, so I still love the character. I want him to be good, and I'm trying my best to make good builds with him. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if there's any thoughts you have on how to improve the build. I seriously love all the tips and tricks y'all have. So hit me up and enjoy the rest of the video, guys. And thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace. Real quick, I forgot to mention this in the video, but you don't have to use Storm Dragon's Judgment, by the way. So if you're going against flying enemies and want to proc ability damage for that Wrath of Nature, you can go ahead and equip Barrage, and it would do the same thing. So don't feel forced. I just wanted to do something that's more Clawbringer-esque. But yeah, Barrage is a great alternative. In fact, you can still use the Barrage Enchanted Body Rune as well. I may try to include that in this build when I put the save file up. But yeah, guys, just wanted to let you guys know real quick, and enjoy the rest of the video. See ya.